Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you for joining us today. And this conversation is just a very brief one between myself and a dear friend, Robert Keston, who is going to be joining us for the Authority Mastermind Collection on the Ascended Masters 7-month program, course, mastermind, executive MBA on steroids, as it has been called, whatever you want to call it, journey, experience. And it's just a conversation between myself and Robert as to why we both feel that this kind of experience, this kind of mastermind is so crucial in today's world, where we do just get to show up and be ourselves and just experience life in the moment. So welcome, Robert, and thank you so much for joining me today on a Saturday.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. So why did you join us? Why did you say yes to this Authority Mastermind Collection?
Aside from the fact that you exhibited your authority in asking, making it hard to say no, there is no question that the world is changing at an ever rapid speed. And we all need a place where we can feel grounded and comfortable just being ourselves. And I think the work that you're doing gives people that space, and having an opportunity to participate in that and share the work that I've been doing as it complements the work that you are doing seemed a natural fit.
Thank you. That's kind of, yeah. Not many people can leave me speechless, Robert Keston, but you tend to do that quite a lot.
Well, thank you.
But to pick up on one of the points that you just mentioned there, that the fact that we get to be ourselves, that we get to experience this and share what you've been doing and what I'm doing and what the other fabulous guests that we've got for everybody lined up, get to experience each other and share our knowledge and share this journey, wisdom, experiences, learnings, life, work, with others who do take part and join us on this journey. I mean, you're going to be helping me in module 4 with the social justice and human rights module. And I truly believe that moving forward, businesses do have to really focus more on the social justice and the human rights aspects of business. It is no longer just about making money. It is about being of service and recognizing, because the world is getting smaller, as you say.
But I think that although one has to organize when you're putting together a mastermind or anything, it's important to look at what is at the foundation of what we all do.
Disculpe, un momento, por favor. Disculpe. Hola. Hola. Mi tema. The tema, Joa? No, I'm just recording a meeting. I didn't realize the dog was back. Oh, fantastic. Do you want to bring? Yeah. Are they here or? No, but I have Ale. Do you want to bring me the dog here?
Yes. Are you going to take a picture?
Take a picture?
Yeah.
Joa. Oh God, it's all bedlam. Oh, I haven't even stopped recording. Hang on 1 second. Joa. Tala henna baba. Tala henna baba. I'm speaking bloody Arabic in Portuguese. Oh. Joa, come on. Obrigada. Come on, Habibi. You little munchkin, you left, didn't you? Went off on your own adventure. Obrigada. No, Joa, aqui. I have Johnny. Okay. Oh, where's the exclamation mark? I don't know. He's just left his phone here. Oh my gosh. Did I? I didn't stop recording anyway. Right then. Social justice, Gizmo. You little cheeky monkey, you. Don't add water. Pop, pop, pop. I will edit that bit.
I would hope.
I probably won't know. It's real life, right? But again, this is a perfect example, actually, of people coming together to support a mission. This might have been about finding a little girl's dog, but when we take a moment to just step back and put somebody else first and work together, like this little girl has been in tears all morning since I said, where's the dog gone? And we probably had about 50 villagers like running around all over the place looking for this dog far and wide. It has just been found in the next village. She's been on a right little mission, this one. You're looking very happy with yourself, aren't you? She's not allowed out.
Freedom.
But isn't that what we're talking about with human rights and social justice, a form of freedom? Any kind of freedom.
Even if it's just running to the next town.
Oh my gosh. What a recording this has been. And this is what people get to experience when they work with me. And it's interesting because I had a chap tell me that I absolutely love the idea, but you don't show up as a leader, Dawn. I was like, really? What does a leader need to show up as? And he says, but you hide so much of who you are. You need to brag about yourself more. It's just like, it's interesting. Just watch this. Come on, come and get Johnny. Who is this? Who is that? There you go, my darling. Na porta fechada, por favor.
Sempre.
Sempre.
Nunca mais aberto.
Sim. Yeah. Oh, how wonderful that she's got her dog back. Oh, I don't even know where we were, Robert. Where do we go from here, do you think?
Well, I do remember a little bit, and that was what you said. It was in section 4 or whatever, and it's of social justice and human rights. And what I said is that no matter what you're doing, no matter how you're doing it, the foundation and the infrastructure is what's important. And if, I don't know how many sections you have, but if this is 4, there are others before and probably others after. And it's important that they're built on a foundation. And just like we build our lives, personal, professional, social, and what I've been thinking about a lot and believe is important is the notion that these things are, when they're foundationally built on a human rights framework, when they're built on the fact that we have inalienable rights, when they're built on the fact that if we hold our dignity and we treat other people with that dignity, then everything that we're building, everything that we're constructing, everything that we're developing is on solid ground, on solid footing. If we diminish others to build up ourselves, if we diminish others or take away from others in order to get more for ourselves, we're building on sand.
Mm.
And sand is not stable and it's not sustainable. So as people put together these kinds of programs, as people build their businesses, as people construct their lives, as governments develop, as governments determine their role, it's important that they build that foundation on solid ground. And solid ground means the people that you deal with are treated with dignity, and you never lose sight of your own dignity.
Mm.
And the only way we lose sight of our own dignity is when we allow someone else to usurp it. It doesn't just go because someone is mean to you.
No.
It goes when you allow that cruelty to diminish how you feel about yourself and
Mm.
question your own worth. If you don't do that and you treat other people with that same kind of respect, the world is a much better place.
Mm. It so is. And what was coming up for me just listening to that is we see so much in the new age spiritual world that's out there at the moment, where everyone's like, it's about honoring your boundaries, setting clear boundaries, and people are liking to talk about this narcissism that's going on. And but the moment that, having experienced a lack of boundaries and looking outside of myself for many years for permissions and approvals, I remember the moment I said, no, I don't need your approval. I give it to myself. I am worthy. I am beautiful. I am brilliant. And aren't we all? And before our conversation today, Robert, I was speaking with a friend, and we were talking about the concept and the paradox of individuality, because we are all connected. And it's like we all have this individual filter and individual experience, which is not individual at all. Because right here, right now, you and I, we're having this individual experience, but this individual experience is being witnessed. But you're experiencing it differently to how I am. But within this space, there is each other giving permission to show up however we wish, and being completely at peace with that. And so I don't know if I am actually going to leave the dog fiasco because in and that of itself was such a beautiful experience. I mean, I'm speaking to one person in Arabic who doesn't understand Arabic, and then I've got a bit of Arabic and a bit of Spanish and some Portuguese in one sentence. I'm like, I don't even know what language I'm speaking anymore, Robert. I really don't. But again, me being this way, for some people might be seen as unprofessional, but for others, it's like, oh, she's so refreshing. And in and of itself, that is me giving myself permission to completely be Dawn. And then that will resonate with whoever that resonates with. And it will repel those who are not attracted to it. So we'll just get the right people to come and journey with us.
Right. It's the old visage, so to speak, of treating people with respect because they're other people and for no other reason doesn't mean that they're your friends, doesn't mean that you have to like them, doesn't mean that you have to invite them for dinner.
No.
All it means is that you still have to treat them the way you would like them to treat you, and that your rights end right before you step on their toes.
Absolutely.
And if we remember that my individual rights only extend to before I touch someone else without permission and goes no further, the world is a safer place.
Mm.
Because no one person's rights are universal. They all have limits. Everything has limits. And when we live within those limits, like a painter lives within the confines of their canvas, we have much more freedom. And that freedom gives us a much greater sense of life. Because boundaries allow us to know what is limited. I mean, we're limited by gravity, we're limited by oxygen, we're limited by our need for water to survive. And when we understand those boundaries, we can live fully within them. If we don't have those boundaries, we're just bouncing up against walls trying to see how far we can go. And that's okay too. But what's interesting about that is you're discovering your boundaries.
Mm.
And everything has a border, everything has a place. And when you know where you fit in and how you fit in, it's extraordinary. Because then there is nothing holding you back except for you.
Mm. And it's interesting you were saying there about the boundaries, because as you know, that I'm traveling around the world, and I'm in Brazil right now, and state by state, it's very different. And I'm guessing it's a lot like the United States of America. This is the United States of Brazil. And there are certain things that happen here in Brazil that have really challenged me. And this is something that Ricardo and I will be going into on the cultural module, which is the module before this one, about understanding the various different cultures around the world, and within our own cultures and within our subcultures, and then the small cultures that exist within the subcultures. And there are things, and I didn't realize I was that English. Don't laugh.
I believe even the Scottish determined you were that English.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Scottish really did determine I was that English, didn't they? But again, it's for me the concept of boundaries here in Brazil, it's almost like a non-existent thing. But it's because everyone in here is just so free to be, and like you can be around a pool and have 3 people sat on 3 different sun lounges, and they all have their own music playing really, really loudly. And you're like, can we just have one piece of music, please? Like, I'm going crazy with all this noise. And while I'm here, I'm in this space, and this little boy has come, and he's come up here, and the English mother in me is like, can you just take your son away? But who am I to say you can't use this space? What right do I have to say to this little boy, you have no right to come here? I'm recording something. And it is a really truly interesting word, this boundaries, because again, as a mother of boys, one of the things that I was reading about when I was studying neurology, and the way in which boys are different to girls, is that boys need the boundaries so they can push up against it, so they can know where to innovate, so we can push these boundaries. So for example, like to go back to days of when the suffragettes were around, you know, was it like 1 inch higher on the dresses, so that you could actually see the dress dancing with the ankle, and then it was above the ankle boot, and then it was, you know, just a little bit higher above there, and then it was, oh, maybe it was 1 inch below the mid calf. And we were pushing these boundaries and pushing and pushing, and now we're eventually here in this space. But is there now, and this is something that I will be exploring within the modules of cultures and human rights, you know, just how far do we get to push or pull back? And do we actually have that right to even do that? So that will be a really interesting conversation for us to be having with the participants on the mastermind, which I'm really excited for.
Well, the as far as pushing boundaries, the only limits are ourselves.
Mm.
Us, a few years ago, when I was giving speeches in India, the people who spoke before me talked about how terrible the world is and how many crises and health and politics and pollution and the world melting. And many of them went before me, and I was the last. And I said, I'm not going to talk about that because they've all talked about it. And so when I got up, I said, I don't want to say that the people who spoke before me were all liars, but I fully disagree with their assessment of our planet. And I came to India to speak to you by airplane. 100 years ago, I wouldn't be here.
No.
And there are women in the audience here. 100 years ago, there would have been no women in the audience here. And many of you are alive because of advances in medicine and science. And 100 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. And 150 years ago, there were slaves in my country, the United States. And today we have a Black president.
Mm-hmm.
So when people say that the world is getting worse, you also have to see all the areas and venues where the world is getting better.
Mm.
And every generation has its mountain to climb, and everyone has the opportunity to look over and see the next promised land. But they have to understand when they cross into Canaan, there will be another mountain to scale, and there will be other problems to solve. And although we're not solving the problems any longer of cavemen who worried about surviving the night and not being dinner to a saber-toothed tiger,
Mm.
we are solving the problems that are germane to us today because they solved the problem of surviving the saber-toothed tiger. They solved the problem of what housing should look like. They solved the problem of penicillin. They solved the problem of printing and recording and communications. And because those problems were solved in the generations before us, we are now able to worry about the things that we worry about and climb that next mountain.
Mm.
And it was well received in India. So
I can imagine.
I was happy that even in troubled times, there is optimism, and it comes down to perspective. You know, where are we? How did we get here? What is the context? And all of that makes a huge difference in understanding boundaries and pushing boundaries and understanding just how far humans are able to go and how fast they're able to do it.
Mm.
And that's more of a problem or an asset than anything else is how fast can we change? Because mentally, we don't change nearly as fast as the world around us changes. Computers have changed things unbelievably fast. Dealing with the pandemic has changed things in immeasurable ways. But our minds and our hearts can only change at the rate of human speed. And human speed and world speed are now two very different things.
They
So,
are.
so when we push, we sometimes push against ourselves.
Yeah, we do. And just to bring that, I mean, being here in Latin America, in a very male-dominated environment and culture, I mean, it reminds me a lot of my time out in Egypt. It's so like the Arab world here. It's I'm just like, oh, I've arrived home. It's all right. I can deal with this. Do want to have words with Elizabeth Gilbert though on Eat, Pray, Love. Thank you. Brazilian men are so not like she described. I will be having words.
It all depends where and when.
Well, I think they all went to Bali. But I mean, it's like I found that the men here, they respond to me more when I'm more assertive. And I'm like, oh, like because the workmen here, I should say, that they respond to me more when I'm more assertive. But when I meet men that are not the workers, then I have to then step deeply into a very soft feminine role. And it triggers me on a multitude of levels, because for me, I'm like, oh, we're all just human beings, just, we're all just equals. But because I'm English, and because, they see me with my computer typing away, writing these books, and, and I'm traveling the world by myself, a lot of the worker men here, they see me as above them. And so they need my authority to tell them, and I have to speak assertively to them and tell them, excuse me. And I'm just like, oh, no, don't speak to them like that. That's, and it really, again, that whole class system or that superiority, and I really struggle with it a lot of the time, because it's like, well, I'm a farmer's daughter,
Well, just imagine when Brazil had a woman president, Dilma Rousseff, how difficult it had to have been for her to navigate an unbelievably male-dominated environment where she had to be assertive in order just to maintain her stature as president and to have credibility.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want her back in a lot of ways at the moment.
And that might be a good thing. But the point is that in all of those spheres, everybody has to find their way of achieving their success.
Mm. Oh, we have a giggle me in the work, because I'm like, just todo igual. And then I start babbling along to them in Arabic, and then I go, oh no, mi confundo. And then we just laugh, and then we're just, for me, humor is such a great leveler. It's something that I think that would be beautiful to see more of in the world. I think a lot of people take themselves far too seriously. And, like, we do push, like you were saying, that we push against ourselves when we're trying to push something else. And I know that from my own experience, I've had to learn how to soften, because I was really aggressive, because I was so angry at the world from what I was seeing, because I was just like, why are we doing this to each other? Why are we hurting each other? And I didn't know how to process it. And I know that some people, they're like, Dawn, we can't comprehend what it is that you know. We can't bear to see what you see. And like, some people have read my books, and like, it was so hard for me to read your book because of what you went through. I can't imagine what it was like for you going through what you went through. And I'm like, well, childbirth is just as messy. There's just as much bloodshed during pregnancy as there is a lot of things, and you just gotta roll with it, and you've just gotta ride it. And the more we turn away from it, the more it happens, and bad stuff only happens in the world because we choose to ignore it. It's happening. And only when we come together to solve it and work together to put a light on it do we actually get to say, I see you. Let's do this together. Let me hold your hand, and let's just walk this path together. We've got this. So yeah. Oh, it's exciting. Life's so beautiful.
And so much of it is choice.
Yeah, it is. It is. Everything is a choice, though, isn't it?
No, we all will die. That's not a choice. That's just inevitable fact. But
Okay.
almost everything up to that point is a choice.
Yeah. Even the things we cannot choose or do not choose, we can choose how we respond to that.
And in some cases, how we get there.
Yeah.
So there was a 30-year-old woman on television the other night. She was a singer, or is a singer, and she's got stage 4+ cancer, and was told that she only has a 2% chance of survival. And she said, I have a choice to be happy or not to be happy. And even with my prognosis, I choose to be happy. And so I sing.
Good.
For a 30-year-old to have to come to that determination And to be able to do it means that pretty much all of us can do it.
Mm,
And we have a responsibility to ourselves and to the people that we love to do it.
absolutely, we do. Mm, thank you so much, Robert. What a great place to end on that. We've got a dog found. We've got choices to be made. We've got a mosquito eaten eye. I can't see out of this eye at all. I got stung on the eye by a mosquito, but I'm choosing just to show up and have great conversations. So I'm going to say thank you so much. I'm going to go off and have a mini adventure around this local area. I say mini adventure because my adventure is quite big, I guess. So
Keep adventuring.
always, always. And thank you so much for joining me. And you have a wonderful weekend. And I will chat with you very soon. And for those of you who have really enjoyed this conversation, come and join Robert and I for some more over on the Authority Mastermind for the Ascended Master 7-month collection. Dun, dun, dun. Ciao for now.